Hey guys, Zach Barton here with Realty Texas. I've got a pretty cool little article that I just pulled up on the Austin Business Journal. I think it was published today actually. So wanted to get this up and running for you guys and show you guys what's going on here because I think it's kind of an interesting concept. Been a lot of talk on the town about rezoning the areas here in Austin to allow for smaller lots that would allow for obviously more dense neighborhoods, more homes, which ultimately would drive down the price of homes here in the Austin area. Right now, the average price for a home, or the median price for a home in the Austin area, is $550,000. What they're talking about here would shrink the lot sizes down to a place where they could actually have a median price in these neighborhoods of $450,000. They wouldn't be condos, so they would be smaller lots, almost like townhome sized lots. But the houses would be the average size. You know, you'd be dealing with 1,500 up to probably 2,500, 2,600 square foot homes. But I wanted to run it by you guys and hopefully get some feedback on it. I'd love to hear what everybody has to say about this potential here. I know we're going to get some mixed feedback and mixed reviews on this because a lot of people like their yards, and this would definitely diminish the amount of yard space that you'd have available. So I'm just going to run through it real quick with you guys. Developers and home builders may soon have the opportunity to build more housing in the Austin area. Here's the crazy thing. So right now, the minimum size lot that you can have for a single family home in the Austin area is 5,750. Now, that's already a pretty small lot. The average lot typically ranges between like 7,500 up to 10,000 square feet. So 5,700 square foot lot is pretty small as is. And they're trying to drop that down to a 2,500 square foot lot. Which is really small. I mean, it's if you've ever seen any like townhome communities, or even it says here row homes and garden homes, that's really what you're dealing with. I mean, for context, the average, a larger one story is going to be 2,500 square feet, and that's sitting on a lot that is going to be 10,000 square feet. So you can imagine that basically like the size of a decent sized one story, that would be the entire lot, and then they have to squeeze a home on there. So pretty interesting. I'd be curious to see how those turn out and what they look like. Doesn't leave a ton of room for a driveway, doesn't leave a ton of room for your yard, that's for sure. I assume that most of them will probably be 2 stories just so that they can, increase the square footage by going vertical as opposed to building out. But yeah, that's a pretty small lot to say the least. So it says here that right now, so basically what's been going on is it's been going to the city council, and you can see here that there was a proposed amendment on the land development code, and this was back in June. And on July, this is when it was proposed. In July, they gave their first nod of approval. The city council did. So it still has a lot of ways to go, but they are making progress towards making this putting this in the code and allowing this to happen. You can see here that there are a lot of questions that remain with the situation. Let's see here. Resolution, new site development. So it calls for adjustments to regulations of setbacks, height, impervious cover, which is basically how much of the lot is actually covered by a structure. And let's see, eliminating site areas and building coverage requirements and methods to mitigate potential runoff. That's a big one too, because when you're building on a property, the more that you build out a neighborhood, that changes the path that water flows through that neighborhood and onto neighboring areas and neighboring land. So you do have to be very careful about how you design so that water doesn't create flood risk for other neighborhoods around you or other land around you. So lots of work still to be done. Lots of what should I say, development plans that would need to be laid out on a per neighborhood basis. But they are trying to figure it out. So let's see, a lot of details need to be worked out, of course, but it is a big step for the pro-density advocates. Let's see, so they typically operate, here's interesting, here's what I was saying a minute ago. For the people of Austin, and this is for the people who serve Austin and deserve to live in Austin, that's been a huge issue for us over the past decade plus, is affordability. A lot of people, so Austin alone has about 1 million people with an Austin address, but there's like 2.2 million that surround the Austin area in the Austin Round Rock metro statistic area. A good chunk of people that live or that work in Austin end up commuting into Austin from the outskirt towns, which is understandable when you have a price range that's $550,000 or higher. your payment on a $550,000 house with current interest rates would, it's going to be somewhere in the $4,000 to $5,000 a month range. So it can be pretty expensive for a lot of people. Prices a lot of people out of the market, and so they're forced to go up into Williamson County, or they have to go down south to Buda, Kyle, and maybe even further south than that. So to be able to build $400,000 homes in the Austin area would be a huge plus for a lot of people. It would allow people to move closer to work. They'd be able to buy a property that's actually in the city of Austin. So it can make a big difference in affordability for a lot of households. And it even says here, this is cool, this is for our bartenders and our firefighters. So the people, that work here, that serve here, they would have the ability to actually purchase real estate here, and they wouldn't have to commute, 30, 40 minutes into work every day. Let's see. So the cost of land is the largest contributor to a price of a home. Very true. I mean, I don't know if you've ever looked at land prices here in the Austin area, but I mean, an acre of land here in Austin could run you $1 million. If you're trying to buy just a lot that you would build a home on, a quarter acre lot, or even a 5,000 square foot lot that would currently be allowed to it would have the regulations required to build on it. I mean, you could be easily spending $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 just for that lot. That's before the price to build, which right now, if you hire a contractor to do it for you, is going to run you anywhere from about $200 to $250 a square foot. So you can imagine, I mean, $300,000 lot plus a 2,000 square foot home. I mean, that right there, that at $200, that's $600,000 just to build your home, plus the lot. It's a very expensive proposition if you're trying to build out here. So the cost of land, largest contributor. 73% of Austinites cannot afford the median price of a home in this city. That's pretty crazy. Sad, but true. So some worry about smaller lot size, and this is where I want some feedback. Some worry that smaller lot sizes could have unintended consequences. We already have the 5th smallest median lot size in the country here in Texas. Our average is about 9,500 square feet per lot, roughly 0.22 acres. And so that, to me, that's kind of a big lot. I mean, a quarter acre is not a bad size, especially if you have a 2-story. You get a pretty big yard with that. But they're trying to cut that down to basically a quarter of what the current average is. So Greater had the Greater Austin Metro had the 2nd largest lots in the state, according to the same study. So we here in Austin have bigger lot sizes on average, so I guess it would make sense to maybe cut those down a bit, but just pretty interesting. If this is allowed, this is a biggie right here, a windfall for local developers. While, as Sharon said, local homeowners said the change would amount to a windfall for local developers, so they'd make a ton of money off of it, but it would also degrade the existing neighborhoods. So again, it's a mixed bag. You're definitely getting reviews on both sides, and I'd love to hear what everybody has to say about this, because it is an interesting development that's worth following, to say the least. And I'd love to see what again, my audience thinks about, would they want smaller lots? If they had the opportunity, if you had the opportunity to move closer to work, if you work downtown or, in the Austin area, but you're commuting right now, would you be willing to take a smaller lot like this? Is this something you'd be interested in if you could get a house that is considerably closer to where you work? Or would that just not be worth it? And would you rather just make the commute and have a bigger lot, more yard space? So love to hear what you guys have to think. As always, feel free to call me, shoot me a text, DM me, and of course on this one, I'd love if you guys comment on this one, because I'd really like to get the debate running in that comment section if you're open to it. So reach out, leave me a comment, and let's talk about it. See ya.